With thanks to the City of BRIMBANK across our neighbourhood and the world, the KONNECT podcast with Mikhaell on BRIMBANK Live on Live FM.
Hello guys, thank you for tuning into BRIMBANK Live FM. It's the KONNECT podcast with Mikhaell. Our guest today on the show is Mel Yu. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's a great pleasure just talking to you. I've been wanting to have you on the show so much.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited to be on and share some good content and have a good conversation with you.
Yes. Can you give our listener just a little a snippet on who Mel is and what she does? Yeah.
What do I do? So my name's Melissa Yu.
Melissa.
I grew up, Melissa for long, but just Mel Yu is fine. That's what most of my friends and people will call me. I'm 30 years old and I'm born and bred from Melbourne. I have a Chinese background and now what do? I have an events company. We have a Melbourne boutique events company called MCO Events. One of the most popular events that we run would be called Ego Expo, which is Australia's streetwear and lifestyle expo.
Yes.
And what else? And so I do a bit of everything as an entrepreneur. So I do a bit of podcasting myself, have my own podcast called The Authentic Me.
Yes.
I do a bit of keynote speaking in the mental health and suicide prevention space. And what else? And then, just a few projects here and there with events. But
wow.
Ask away.
Yes, definitely a ton of stuff, but it's kind of dope that you do a lot of stuff. We're gonna start with the Ego Expo, which was the first thing that
you knew me from.
Yeah, I knew you from. Sorry, I'm shaking.
Why?
Yes.
So good.
That's the first thing I knew from, and just seeing how you work and stuff. I was wondering, how did you start Ego Expo? Was this something that you wanted to do, or someone brought it up to you, or how did you start?
Started?
Yeah.
Of course. So, in a little bit of context, I suppose, I don't have a background in running events. I didn't have any educational background, but I did have experience and work experience. So before I started my own events company, I was actually the project manager of the Australian Tattoo Expos. So I was already running these conventions or these events around Australia.
Yes.
And with that experience and with that skill set, I guess after 4 years working at the Tattoo Expos, I decided to go out on my own and to I did. So run my own events company and sort of start my own business.
Yes.
And the idea that came about for Ego Expo was I was looking at, okay, where is my skill set in event management and where am I passionate and where's the gap in the market? So I was really looking at events and expos and conventions and what the gap in the market was. And what I noticed with Australia was that we have a lot of streetwear brands. And for those that are listening, streetwear would be anything like snapbacks, t-shirts, sneakers, really affiliated with almost hip hop and rap culture.
Yes.
And I thought there wasn't exactly a platform that helped bring these up and coming independent brands and entrepreneurs to a large mass consumer attention sort of space. Everyone was doing their own little things and there were lots of little things going, but you almost had to be part of the culture or in the culture to then know what's up.
Yes.
So I wanted to create a platform where it was a 2-day weekend where, again, based on my event experience background, where all of these small community groups could come together for 1 weekend annually and really showcase their creativity, put their egos aside and come through and just shine as who they are. And that's kind of the core or the foundation of what Ego Expo is about. Ego Expo is a platform for you to celebrate your uniqueness and your individuality. When we look at streetwear culture, there's so many different elements of streetwear, right? It's not just fashion. You've got fashion, you've got music, as you know, you've got art, you've got food, you've got sport. So I guess for me, I wanted to create this lifestyle event that very quickly ended up having a lot of different puzzles. So originally it was just starting off as fashion because I was like, okay, fashion brands, great. But then I was like, oh shit, like music's really part of fashion. And then tattoos are really part of fashion, or like
Yeah,
basketball is really part of
basketball,
fashion.
yeah.
Like, yeah, and food trucks and like, so all these different elements very quickly came together. And I guess what, if anyone came to Ego Expo, then you would see that it's kind of like this hybrid or mashup of what pop culture and millennial culture is right now.
Absolutely. But it's kind of like takes someone who's like very observant and like someone who's like very aware of what's going on to like come up with that idea to be like, okay, I see what's going on, I see what's needed, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Yeah, it's very like it's very it's very cool to like be able to do that and to actually come to a place where you're actually successful and in doing that. So how did you become like super aware? Were you like always like, was it something that you planned like ages ago and then, or was it just something you were like, okay, I see what's going on, this is what's needed, let's do this?
Yeah. So
Mm,
look, it was probably the latter, which
mm,
was, let's just get this done. And I was like running on adrenaline and passion. And when
mm,
you're starting an idea phase, if anyone's on that creative journey, that
yes.
startup phase, there's excitement in it because you've got the vision, but it's like you
Mm,
almost you almost don't know enough to then execute the vision. So
yes.
now with a bit of hindsight and experience, 100%, I think you should plan a little bit more and
Mm,
take baby steps. Whereas I went all in,
mm,
and it wasn't necessarily the smartest thing to do. So I quit my job in April 2017 and
yes.
then went on a holiday, went overseas, came back. So it was about June, July that Ego Expo actually started the idea.
Mm, mm,
And then we had our first event with 2,000 people that came through by February 2018. So when you look at that timeline, that was less than 8 months to execute an event of that size and with that many people,
wow.
which goes to show, though, I was hungry for it.
Mm,
There was no, like, I worked more than what a 9 to 5 would in my own business. I
yeah.
was working 9 till 3 a.m. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
And that's the reality of it when you're
Mm,
starting off. And if you're starting off something, you better work twice as much as what the normal person would be working, because otherwise you're not gonna achieve the things that it's gonna stay as an idea. And that's the
mm,
difference between idea and execution. I think you got to
yeah.
actually execute. You got to take massive action.
It's that hard work that you put in the middle that take you from your idea to actually making it
Reality.
reality. Yep. So
Exactly. And it's the part that no one really wants to talk about and no one really wants to do.
yeah,
The
but
hard work.
that's the fun part. I reckon. I think that's the most like fun part. That's where you tell the stories from. That's where you get the
100%.
you get the lessons from. It's
100%. That's where the grind is,
mm,
like, and people that even in music, for example, for yourself, and people
yeah.
aren't rapping or like talking about, it's the hustle that they're talking about, because it's the blood, sweat and tears that you're putting into your craft, that
Mm,
then it's that journey to actually end up there. There's no point talking about balling and being successful and all of that when it was easy to get there, because then it wasn't
yeah.
really a ride.
Mm, absolutely. Yes, definitely it's definitely a learning experience for every person, and it's something that you shouldn't just take for granted or look over. It's something that you can really cherish. You can grow as a person. Those hard days, those easy days, whatever days you're going through, it's like you can learn, you can become better, and those are actually what makes you grow as a person. Like even this time
Mm.
that what's going on with the pandemic, these are times to make you 10 times better than you were before. So um
Yeah, and life puts tests in front of you to make sure it's a test to see whether you actually want it bad enough,
mm,
right? There's
mm,
challenges that are going on in the world when you want something. It's like the moment that you want something, or you have a vision, or you have a dream, the world's just going to throw shit at you. They're just
facts.
going to be like, okay, you really want to do this? Let's throw a couple of obstacles and challenges your way, because how bad do you want
Mm,
it? Because if
mm,
you suffocate all your excuses, you will execute, you'll get there.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm kind of like finding out that it's like the world is always gonna give you like excuses,
Mhm.
Like it's just a matter of like you just need one reason. It's like to just do what you love and like passionate about, and you can constantly just like sit there and like do nothing, but like um you just need one reason to like just focus on what you need to do, pretty much.
Yeah,
Mm,
find your reason,
mm,
definitely find what drives you and what motivates you. And like some people might call it passion, but yeah, find what that is, because then when you can hold on to that, um, you, you can go away around it in different ways, but you'll always get there because that's your passion. If it's truly
mm,
your passion, you won't let anything else deter you.
mm. Yeah. So did you have any like mentors along the way, or was it just trial and error? Pretty much.
Yeah. I
Mm.
think it is both.
Yep.
I definitely have mentors now, but when
Mm,
I first started out, I felt very much on my own. When I
mm,
initially started out, I was entering an industry that no one knew me and I knew no one. I had to
mm,
build all those relationships from scratch. But what I wasn't afraid of was knocking on doors. So I
mm.
wasn't afraid of cold DMing 100, 200 people that I needed to get in touch with. I wasn't afraid
Yes.
of cold emailing, every single brand, every single label, like DMing ballsy people like Culture Kings, Nina Pasadena, some bigger names out
Mm,
there. And yeah, not every single one of them said yes, but I only needed a few yeses. So I
mm,
think you got to have relentless persistence as well
mm,
to do that. And
mm.
then over time, your mentors will show up, because people that vibe with your passion and they're attracted to your energy,
Mm,
mentors just suddenly start showing up and they'll help you. And
absolutely.
that's kind of what happened with me. Like, I don't have, do I have a paid coach? No, I don't. Should I invest in one? Probably. Like, I probably should have a business coach, because I'd probably save a lot. Like, I'd, not leave so much money on the table.
Mm,
However, the journey is the journey that I've gone on. Now I'm a lot smarter and wiser because I have had those losses
mm,
and I've had failures along the way. But
mm.
yeah, definitely, I think mentorship's really important. Why not learn from someone that has already done what you've done? So
Yes.
mentorship's incredibly valuable because someone's already walked the walk that you aspire to walk, which
Mm,
means that you don't need to reinvent the wheel all the time,
yes.
right? You
Mm,
don't have to. Success is written for you. You just gotta find those people that have kind of done it, and then add your spin or your flavor onto it.
yeah.
You got to do it your way. You got to do
Mm,
it your way. But it doesn't hurt to have people give a helping hand every now and then and point you in the right direction.
yes. It makes the process a lot more easier. But I think even for every person, you have to be willing, you have to be open to be able to take advice b-
Yeah,
first and
that would
foremost.
be you. You won't be able to. I think you would really struggle to progress
Mm,
and to achieve success if your ego doesn't allow you to learn from others.
yes. That's me when I was like 19, like
It's like, I
I
got
think
this.
I
Ain't
got
nobody
this.
gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But then once you realize, oh, that was all ego.
Oh my
You know what I mean?
gosh.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't have all the answers. That's
No.
ridiculous. How
Yeah.
egotistical to think that you have all the answers. If you had all the answers, you would be the most successful person in the world, right?
Yes. Mm,
And it's
and I,
okay to have that humility and have a bit of humbleness and go, hey, not sure what I'm doing here, and
mm,
ask for help.
yes, absolutely. It makes the world, it makes everything a lot more easier to just have the blueprint set out in
Hmm.
front of you and someone who's been there before to help you kind of like so you don't waste time. I think like time is really um it's really precious. And
100%.
we really like you can work hard like I've been like working hard for like the past 3 years, but it's like it's not just about working hard, it's about working smart as well. And
Hmm.
it's not just about putting in those hours, it's about making the right moves, talking to the right people at the right times. So I think, yeah, definitely all the answers lies within the people who have been there and done it. So you just have to find those people
Yeah,
and
and
like
surround yourself with those people that are going to encourage you in your dream and your vision.
mm,
When you say, I've been working hard for 3 years, great. Do you know how many other people have been working hard for 5, 6,
30
7, 8,
years,
9,
yeah.
10? Yeah, before they actually achieve anything as well. So the
Yeah.
reality of it is you're all on your own journey. You're each on your own specific chapters. But
Yes.
the grind is real, and it's not like a unicorn dream. People go, yeah, I'm going to hustle hard and then I'm going to be this thing. And I think we overestimate our potential, and we underestimate the time that it actually takes to achieve success. It's a
Yes.
long road, you
Mm.
know, but in the scheme of things, like I know, would I be willing to sacrifice 10 years if the next 30, 40 years is going to be amazing? Probably. You know what I mean? You got to, like, there's got to be, if you want success, there's got to be some sort of sacrifice. Whether it's
Absolutely.
time, money, you know, relationships, there's got to be something that gives, because everything's not just going to come to you.
Yes. But when you're in that mindset, I think it's like, it's not even sacrifice. It's just you're doing what's needed.
Correct.
It's not even like,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's not even like sacrificing. It's just necessity. What's gonna make you better as a person. And the better you are as a person, the better you are with your community, with your
That's it.
family. Yeah. So it definitely starts from the individual for
You.
sure. Yes. We're gonna talk about Authentic Me podcast. What was the idea? How did you like come up with?
Yep. So did you start this podcast during the pandemic as well?
Yes, I started during the pandemic, but the idea was like way before, like on like
Correct.
February. Like I remember like texting you some ideas on Connect.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
So a similar story. I had the idea of like those conversations. Like, I'm going to, have a podcast one day. And that was since 2018. I literally was like in 2 years ago, I said, yeah, I'm going to start a podcast, but I never did. One, because of time, work was busy. Life is busy. I have all these other projects. So I never really did. And then when the pandemic hit and work was not as, overwhelming, I had a lot more time working from home. We don't have events and dinners and birthdays, all of that sort of stuff to distract us. I was like, well, now I have absolutely no excuse. I have to start this podcast.
Yes.
So the idea started 2 years ago. And then over the course of the 2 years and now to execution, I guess why I wanted to create something called The Authentic Me is I'm a huge believer in authenticity. Authenticity is one of my strongest values. I live and breathe it every single day because I don't know what it's like to live a life that's not mine. I only know me. So it might as well be like authentically me. And why a podcast was now, like when I look at conversations and I look at people receiving information and consuming content, I wanted to have another platform that wasn't my social media platforms, that could provide my community and my audience long form content so that they can actually start going a bit deeper. Because I do videos on Instagram or I do captions, but you only see 1 minute, right?
Yeah.
And now it like even reels, it's 15 seconds. You don't really get to go deep into people's mind. And so a podcast is a really, really good platform that I can bring guests that inspire me to share their story, their authentic story, and then hopefully help people along the way, right? And I'm sure that that's one of the basis of why you start your podcast. It's to add value to your listeners.
Absolutely.
So if you can share that, collaborate, do all that sort of stuff, it's a win-win-win. You might not necessarily start a podcast to then monetize it straight away. But what a podcast does though, is it helps you build credibility and build brand. And that's what I've seen. Like I've gotten heaps of opportunities just because I've started this podcasting journey, because people go, hey, like I see you podcasting. Do you want to jump on my podcast? Do you want to have a chat about this? And that's what opens up other like avenues and to connect with people, exactly like the podcast Connect.
That's the whole point.
Like you can, but yeah, 100%. But now you can reach out to randoms. Like we've never met in person, face to face, but through a podcast, you can now have these really rare, amazing conversations that are then documented for the rest of the world to listen to.
Wow. Yes. I've had like some amazing people come through, including yourself, like just having conversations that we probably wouldn't have ever no one would have ever gotten to hear before, because I always love like just talking to people. Like every time when I see someone like in the city, we'll go for like food and we'll just talk for like hours and just about like life and music and all
And
that
it's like,
stuff.
should have been a podcast.
Yeah, but now it's like everyone gets to hear that story. Everyone gets to like open their mind a little bit and like hear people's ideas on like, if you're a musician, there's a lot of musicians who come through, who talk about music, who talk about things that how they got into like the industry. So yeah, it's definitely like one of the best thing that I've ever like just, or we've ever like done. Like it's just
Yeah.
one of those
And
things
you
that's like,
learn so much with every
yes.
conversation. You learn something. So in a way, it's selfishly selfless because it's like it fills up your cup, and then you're also giving back because other people get to
Yeah,
listen on this like beautiful conversation that you have with people.
absolutely. They say that giving is the most selfish thing you can do.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. It's the gift that keeps on giving for yourself.
Mm. Yes, I love doing podcasts. It's definitely one of my favorite things to do. Also, like especially during this time, I wanted to like just take a minute with music and just give people conversations to just talk things through. And like,
Mm.
was that something that you were like wanted to do with your own podcast, to just give people a platform to just like listen to what other people are going through this time, and like we can connect with each other, like.
Yeah, I think more than ever during
Mm,
this time, the year that is 2020, people are working on personal development and
mm,
people have more time to listen to podcasts. So I think
yes.
it's a really good time to be putting out content that you're proud of as an individual. So for me as an interviewer, like I love it because I get to ask these questions to these people, like I said, that I really admire.
Mm,
And it's like free coaching or free mentorship. You know, you ask about mentoring and coaching. In a way, the guests that you have on help plant some new ideas or opinions and give you some advice or guidance to your own life. So I
yes.
think, yeah, definitely more than ever now, like it's so important to stay connected, and it's so
Mm,
important to start your personal development journey where you're open to learning from others. Again,
mm,
we wouldn't even be able to have this conversation to someone that's not ready to learn because they wouldn't listen to a podcast. You
yes.
know what I mean?
Mm,
So the people that are listening, they're already in some level self-aware or on that journey to self-awareness. So then
yes.
invite them in, bring them on. And if you
Absolutely.
can help someone, shift and the needle just by a thread, you've done your part.
Mm, absolutely. I feel like that's one of like the main thing about like each person is like, yes, it's cool to like take care of yourself, but like the ultimate goal is to inspire other people, to inspire the people around you, which is like the
Mm-hmm.
coolest thing you can ever do,
Mm-hmm.
is inspiring
Mm-hmm.
another person, for sure.
Exactly, for sure.
Mm. What is your daily routine like? I know you do like a little bit of training. Like, don't tell me the whole thing. Just like, do you train a lot? Is taking care of your body like really like important to you? Something like that.
So in terms of routines,
Mm,
100%, I think you got to get not only your mind right, but you got to get your health right. And then you
mm,
got to get your soul and your spirit right. So
yes.
they're the sort of components that I look at. So mindset, what are my routines for mindset? How do I maintain positive well-being in terms of my mental health? I
Mm,
make sure that I'm very conscious of what I consume. So in like podcasting is a huge part of my mental health because it
yes.
gives me education and knowledge for my brain.
Mm,
But I'm also, like I'll read a book for my mental health, or like that sort of a thing that I'll just read a couple of chapters. I do what
yeah.
serves me. Physical health, you would see if you do follow me on social media, like I go for walks right now because gyms are closed, but I go for
Mm,
a massive walk every day. Getting out in nature and just moving the body, even if it's
mm,
not walking, maybe just go bounce a basketball around, do yoga, do something that makes the body move, because the moment that you
yes.
start doing movement, it helps and stimulates everything else. Like it literally releases serotonin, dopamine, cortisol, like all of these sort of things that can help you be more productive in your day. So
Mm,
I 100% exercise is an important thing. I don't train religiously. Like I also,
mm,
if I don't exercise for one day, I'm not hard on myself. But
yes.
overall, my
Agree.
routine's really important. Yeah.
Mm,
And then stuff for my spirit or my soul, I make sure that my relationships are good. So things that I do for mindfulness, like I check in on friends, like routinely, I will like make sure that I've called the people around me that I love, because my
Yes.
relationships is what fulfills me in a spiritual level.
Mm. You're very like self-aware of like your surrounding, not just yourself. And it's very important to like to be conscious of like your actions, your thoughts, um, the way you walk. You're like, I'm
It all
still,
starts with a thought. Yeah,
yes.
it all starts with a thought. And so the
Mm,
moment that you can, so people go, oh, you know, like I can't contain my emotions. I can't control my emotions. It's because you haven't controlled
mm,
your thoughts, because
mm,
your thoughts are then leads to the events that happen in your life, the feelings that happen in your life, and how you interpret things in the world. So
mm,
making sure that you understand that your thoughts are your thoughts, and how important the language that you use is so important. Whether you
mm,
say you're good enough or you say you're not is usually
mm,
right. Both will be right. It starts
yes.
from whether you believe it or not.
Mm, yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. And like, I definitely recommend people to try some yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's like,
I never used to be a yoga, I never was a yoga person. But
mm,
again, through this pandemic, I decided to explore it a little bit more than just the once or twice. And I
mm,
actually think it is so beneficial to slow down and like do the stretching and be very present. Yoga is so much more than just like on the mat, you know, it actually helps your mind and your clarity so much.
yes.
And I only realize that now through this pandemic, because I've done consistent yoga. So I would
Mm,
recommend people that are like, oh, I don't really know about yoga, just try it for 10, 15 minutes. You don't have to have a full hour. Like I
yes.
do 15 minutes of yoga and it's enough.
Yes. There's a lot of, I'll link a yoga for them for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah, good, good, good.
But I feel like, yeah, like if for me, like with my brothers and like sisters and stuff, like I constantly like, especially in this pandemic, like I sent them a few videos just to like take care of their mental well-being. Like,
Hmm.
I sent them a few yoga videos. Like I kept like annoying them a lot. Yeah, because I know the benefits of just waking up and taking care of your not only your body and mind but your spirit before you can get
Hmm.
out the house. You already feel
Mm,
like you already won. And
exactly,
it's so
exactly.
it's so important. And I want other people to just have a little something that can make um just their day easier, which is which is more important than anything, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I think it all starts with you. Like if you can nail that morning routine or feel grounded in who you are, and you've ticked a few, you know, boxes that make you feel good, then you're ready to take on the day. The
Mm.
moment that you step foot outside of the house, that energy that you bring because you've done the work, that's just going
Yes.
to attract other people.
Yes. And I think that there's a lot of distractions
Mm-hmm.
like we don't even see. Sometimes you think that, okay, I gotta do this today, so I don't have time. Like we all like I think we all have time, but there's a lot of distractions. Like but now
Well, we
there's
all
like
have the same 24 hours, don't we? We
yeah.
all have the same 24 hours in a day. So
Yeah.
why is it that some people can excel and maximize those hours, and some people actually just do sweet F all? Like,
Mm,
because they're just watching TV on the couch.
yeah.
The time's still going to go. This time's
Mm,
still going to happen. So
mm,
I just think it would it would make more sense to fill your cup up and do the things that you love, so that when you actually look back, you can go, hey, during this pandemic, this is what I did as well. Like, especially during
mm,
this time, oh, I started a podcast. Oh, I learned a new skill over here. Oh, I tried
mm,
yoga. Why not test and
yeah.
try those things?
Mm, absolutely. This is definitely like it's definitely a time for like an opportunity to better oneself and like to really get
Mm-hmm.
to like even if I'm talking about like yoga and stuff, like I've been challenged like spiritually to just like because um every time when like I'm down, I have music to go to, I have to perform somewhere, I have basketball to
Mm-hmm.
go around to, I have people to
Mm-hmm.
meet. But now it's
Mm-hmm.
like you're with yourself. I'm with myself like
Mm-hmm.
a lot
And
more
do you
time.
like yourself?
Mm,
Yeah.
so I'm getting exposed to like my demons and like you have to
Yes.
change, you have to be better. And then, when things open up, you are even more open to life and you can experience it.
It's just going to get better, especially when things
Yes.
open up. I think if you've done
Mm,
that work during this time,
mm,
then your basketball is going to improve. Your social circles are going to improve. Your music's going to improve, because everything, what for someone that loves that energy from other people, if you
mm,
can work on this time for self-awareness and self-development, when you get back into that state,
mm.
you'll just soar. You'll just get even better.
Absolutely. Like, I'm just like, sometimes I'm like just thinking of like post pandemic, like we'll just be looking back and just be laughing. Like it's just gonna
Yeah.
be like one of those, you know, I feel like,
It will pass. It
yes.
will pass. So
Mm,
just completely understand, like, it might feel like that, where's the light at the end of the tunnel? We've just gotten through, we've just got an extension on stage 4 restrictions, all of this stuff. But the reality is that it is going to pass.
yes.
It is.
Mm, absolutely. I definitely agree with you.
Mm.
You always like connecting with the community. How important is it for you to not only communicate but educate your community as you educating yourself and growing as a person?
It's everything. So
Mm,
education for me, I truly believe that it starts with education.
mm,
When we educate our younger generation, which is our future, that's where the hope lies. We can actually have the power to change this world for the better if we choose and lean into education.
mm,
So I'm very aware that we don't operate as individual human beings. We're very much part of a community. We're part of a culture. We're part of the human race. We are very connected with all of that. So how can we, I just think I just show up in a way that it's like, how can I add value to other people's lives? And
mm.
it is through education, because sometimes, we're not so lucky and we don't have that social circle that's always doing things, and entrepreneurial and creative artists and all of that sort of stuff. So
Yes.
you really got to find those people for you. And I know that sometimes those people might not be in your circle, but they could be on social media, because that's how technology works now. So if I
Mm,
can be a mentor or a good friend or a guidance or an acquaintance or just a positive person online, then I
mm,
will choose that.
mm,
There is so much negativity on social media and everything. So I think if I can just be that 1 second of positivity in all of the negative,
mm.
that's a good thing.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you. Um, but I feel like to get to that point where you feel like you're able to help someone else, you have to first of all like be good with yourself,
And have you
which
helped yourself? you
yes.
know
Mm,
the reality is, like, there's no, you're doing a disservice to people if you haven't learned how to love yourself, if
mm,
you haven't gone through your own healing, because you can't heal people when you haven't healed. You just can't. It doesn't work like that, because you've got too
no.
much of your own stuff going on. So
Mm.
don't, like, it might all sound really great and I sound very passionate and determined
Mm,
about it, but that's because I did the work. I
absolutely.
did do that work. I've gone through hell and back, and
Mm,
um, I've come out the other side. So that's why I have this sort of, certainty or conviction to why
yeah.
I do the things that I do. But
Mm,
that didn't come just because I was born with it. I actually feel like I've had a harder run than most
mm,
20-year-olds. But that was the cards that I was dealt with, and what I how I processed that. That's how it's shaped me to be the woman that I am now.
yes. That's why you can't really like put this leadership thing on someone else to like, yo, you should be a leader, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, because you
Mm.
that's what I'm trying to like, I'm kind of like finding out now. It's like you really can't do that because you don't know where they are in their self. So the
Mm-hmm.
best thing you can do is take care of yourself and like really try to see what you can do for like people around you, pretty much.
But take care of yourself first. And this is what I do get a lot of people that are like, how can I make more of an impact?
Mm,
So make an impact in your circle.
mm,
Stop trying to go out there, like I want to change the world. Okay, well, first, before you change the world, let's just change your circle. Who are
Facts.
your closest friends? Who is your family? Who are your siblings? How can
Mm,
exactly what you just said, sending them a yoga video, your family, your siblings, that is how you change the world. It starts with
mm,
you and your circle.
absolutely. And like even like way before, like I'll just think to myself like, what am I like trying to convey in this like music and stuff when
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing this what I know I should be doing for my brothers and sisters. Like
Mm,
it starts where you are, like with the people that you have around you, and that constantly just keep building up and building up and building up. And it's like a daily thing that you have to wake up and like really um just assess your good deeds and like your stupidity. Yeah.
I think it's really, I think the journey of self-awareness and checking in on yourself, it never ends. There is no
No.
end goal, right? Every
Mm,
single day you wake up, you still got to put your feet on the floor and find that grounding. Because
yeah.
the moment that I think you stop doing that, that's when you lose.
Yeah. The moment you think that okay, we're all good, like the moment you think you've set everything right, you just find more problems that
Exactly.
you have to like fix and stuff. But definitely starts with yourself. And like I'm constantly just preaching and constantly just practicing this with myself, not even
Mm-hmm.
preaching. I try not to preach, but just constantly just practicing this with myself. It's like the better you are, the better everything else is going to be around you. And like I see a lot of people like stressing about this and that while I'm
Mm,
stressing about my thoughts. Like my biggest stress is just um always like connecting with my thoughts instead of just realizing that they're not even my thoughts. It's just
exactly.
someone else's input. And like when I see people going through exterior problems, when I see myself going through exterior problems,
Internal.
it's like I constantly just remind myself like it's not like your thoughts, it's not you, it's just accumulation from other people. And that's why yoga is really like super important for me, just to constantly remind
Mm,
myself of like
they're just
to
thoughts as
mm,
well.
absolutely, to just take care of yourself, which is like the most important thing you can do for sure. Yeah.
It starts with you and it ends with you. 100%. Couldn't agree
Yes,
more.
absolutely. What are you doing today? What was your day like today?
So at the moment, during the pandemic, my days are pretty much at home because we're restricted to being at home. So
Mm,
I will still get up. I have to-do lists, so I still try and keep somewhat of my organization, even though it's not as busy as what I would
mm.
like. There's still a lot of planning and stuff that I can do. But during this time, I have been focusing on writing my book. That's kind of the
Awesome.
next project or the next
Mm,
task. So I've ticked off having a podcast. I've ticked off a few things that I'm pretty proud of. But one of them was I want to get a book out that talks about a lot of my journey and everything like that. Just for me, it's like it's for others as well, of course, but I think it
mm.
would provide so much value. And
Yes.
it's another platform that some people might like to listen to podcasts, some people might not like to be on social media, but some people love to read. So I
Yeah.
want to be able to serve that audience that loves
Mm,
to read,
mm,
and then get that book out there. So that's what I've been working on today. I've sent a couple of proposals off. So um, during this time, MCO events and my business has moved to online, which is
mm.
pretty much what I recommend every business to do: have a virtual element or an e-commerce element, because now, like, the world's changed. The new normal is coming through, and watch this space. Everything is going to start being way more technology driven and way
Mm.
more online, including events. So
Yes.
we have moved to virtual events, and now we're just kind of, working on the virtual side of our business and sending out proposals and quotes and links and pitching to other corporate events and things like that. So that, because Christmas is still coming, we still got to celebrate certain things, but we might
Yeah.
just be doing it a little bit different now.
Mm. Absolutely. I feel like a lot of things are moving, like you said, they're moving online. And um it's definitely like a new eye-opening thing for everyone to like find different ways to like still be able to connect with people. I've just started reading. Like I'm on my first book ever, like reading. Are you
Wow.
let's clap now.
Yeah, yes, we should clap that. You're starting,
Oh
you started a
boy.
new thing. What are you reading?
Yes. I'm reading a book by Sadhguru. He's an
Hmm.
Indian mystic. That's my type of thing. Um
Amazing.
he's yeah, I'm reading that book. I think I'm like 50 pages to finish it. It's like 300 and plus, but
Amazing. Good stuff.
yeah, no, don't clap for me.
Yes, why not? We should be clapping for everyone that like reads a
Okay,
book. Because not that
why
many
not?
people read a book, so we'll clap that.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But definitely like reading a book is like super, it's just takes you like deeper into like, it's not like you said, it's not like a podcast. It's a deeper understanding of what you're reading because you're constantly like saying it in your head. So I think it's a great way to like definitely connect with people, and I can't wait to like listen. I can't wait to read your book. You know,
Thank you.
I think
I'm very excited.
mm,
It will come out at the end of the year, hopefully.
yes, mm, yeah, definitely gives a lot of great insights to people, and I'm trying to read a lot of books that as much as I can. Do you read a lot of books, or do you like?
I do.
Mm,
If I flip the camera, like I've always kind of been drawn to, I've always been drawn to books. I
yeah.
love the way that a book can take you into another world.
Mm,
I love the lessons, exactly what you just said. Like it goes into this deeper level because it's you and your thoughts and the words on paper.
yeah.
And it's not like a movie. A movie, they direct it and they show you like what
Mm,
happens in the movie, right? But as
yeah.
you go through a journey of a book, a lot of it is your relationship with that book and who do you
Yeah.
like identify within a character and
Mm,
the struggles or anything like that. And I do read a lot of autobiographies. Like I said,
mm,
success leaves clues. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. So I read
facts.
books like Michelle Obama, Becoming, Richard
Mm,
Branson, Losing Your Virginity. I look at people that I love. So you go and
mm,
find whoever it is that you love. Like Bobby Hundreds, he has a it's not just a t-shirt brand
mm,
book, and it's like talks about culture. So it's like whatever your passion is, trust me, there's fashion books, like uh, autobiographies, fiction, fantasies, whatever it is. Like I think people, you don't lose from reading, you only
no,
gain.
absolutely. And yeah, it's really like it's really been keeping me busy for like a lot of hours just reading. Not a lot of hours, but I've been lazy. Like, oh
It's
my god.
good. But that's all
Yeah.
right. Even if you just read, like, that's the thing. Like, don't put so much pressure on yourself. But if you read one page and then
Yes.
that page ends up as a second page, because once you start reading, you almost read quite a lot. But
Yeah.
then it's about picking up the book and going back and reading it.
Mm,
So I think just do it for enjoyment. Don't put any other pressure
yeah.
on it. If you want
Mm.
to read, you read. If you don't. Like, just do what makes
Not to
you
read.
happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your favorite? What is your favorite book you've read so far?
Oh, this one's a little bit of a cheat one, but
Mm.
hands down, easily, it's Harry Potter series.
Harry
I'm a
Potter.
massive Harry Potter nerd.
Mm.
So I love J.K. Rowling, and I grew up with the books. There's 7 books,
Mm.
and yeah, that that series for me just shaped a lot of my childhood and believing in like magic
Mm.
in life. So yeah, so they are probably some of my favorite memories or children books.
Yes.
And what like, but yeah, I read a lot of things. There's a book for anyone that's kind of going into that personal development self-help space. It's called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma.
Okay, I'm gonna
And
check that out.
yeah, I'll send it to you after, a
Sweet.
link or whatever. It's
Mm.
really short read, and I think it highlights really, really simply the things that are important in life aren't materialistic at all.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. I feel like books are definitely one of those things that are really self help. Like it can
Hmm.
definitely help a person to like grow and like see the world in like a totally different way. And yeah, I'm so excited for like just having a talk with you. It's been like super amazing just getting to like pick
Awesome.
your brain on like what you do.
100% anytime. I mean, you can it's just, that's the beauty of social media and stuff now. Hey, like you can just DM someone and they will engage. And this is how this podcast happened because
Yes,
of
sir.
one Instagram message. So don't be afraid to reach out to people. I think that's a huge thing. Don't be afraid to connect. You never know which relationship's going to take you on to the next big thing in your
Yes,
journey.
sir. I just want to say thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much. This was so much fun.
Yes, sir. I can't wait to meet you one day. I'm like, thank you so much. All right.
Yeah, that will happen.
All right. I'm gonna say
100%.
bye
Thanks
to
so
our
much.
listeners. Thank you.
With thanks to the city of Brimbank across our neighbourhood and the world, the Connect podcast with Mikhaell on Brimbank Live on Live FM.